What I liked about Sam right away was that there was, shall we put it mildly, no pretense.
You know, sometimes you have to be sure to pay the appropriate homage to political leaders, and none of that was part of Sam's leadership style.
Sam is gregarious in that he loved life. And, you know, the lights went out at the time Sam left the place, and the lights came on when Sam arrived.
He is truly interested in you. And sometimes, you know, for a politician, that's kind of unusual. They're more interested in ourselves, you know. And he's interested in you. He wants to hear your story.
I don't know anybody that does a better job or is more committed to public service, and it's been 25 years now.
When you look back at most people that have been in the Peace Corps, they often say that those were the most important years of their lives, and it clearly was for Sam.
John F. Kennedy was the brand new president of the United States, and I think one that all of us identified very strongly with. He was young, he was handsome, he was articulate. I knew the minute he created the Peace Corps that I wanted to be in it.
Sam and I were assigned to do urban community development, which was really a very unstructured job. We lived in these very, very poor barrios with raw sewage and sometimes not even running water. And what happened at the end of 2 years is what you made happen. Whether you built a sewer or a school, taught people to read. The main thing was trying to get them to work together as a group, something they really hadn't done before. Sam was excellent at that.
He loved the Peace Corps. God, did he love the Peace Corps. I think it's a you know, if they let him wear it on his lapel, he'd have it there all the time.
Sam's mother died while we were there, and he had to come back for a while to the United States. And then shortly after he came back, the whole family was reunited in Colombia to kind of be together in the wake of her death.
Here we were visiting him right after my mother died. It was a few months after my mother died. We decided we needed a family trip, and what happened on the family trip was my sister died.
They all went riding one morning, and Nancy was thrown from a horse and hit her head and was rushed to the hospital. Well, she didn't survive that operation.
I think for Sam, there was a sense that he couldn't do anything. Here it was, a country that he knew well, but he couldn't do anything, and he couldn't save her.
And at that time, I lost my mother and my sister in about a 7-month time, and it was just, you know, I was beginning to wonder whether anything was worth doing anymore. But I remember my mother's urging me to go to Colombia, and I remembered how much Nancy loved Colombia, and I remember how supportive the Colombians were of our tragedy. And I went back.
Sam never let us see how much he was grieving. He really just went forward with his work. He was the same wonderful, warm human being that he always was to the Colombians, and people really responded to that.
I think everyone who's come home from the Peace Corps, and certainly this happened with Sam, he came home saying, there's so much to do. There is so much to do. I mean, his sister, our sister, died because there was no health service in the jungles of Colombia.
I think the Farr family is one of those great families that really believe in public service. They are people who really believe that if they can give part of their lives to helping others, that's what they're supposed to do.
Sam got a sense of, you can change things that are wrong. He got that from my mother. That was the kind of woman she was. There are just certain things that are right in the world, and there are certain things that are wrong in the world. And the most important thing is to somehow preserve human dignity, and that my father was in a position to make that happen.
Fred was a giant. I mean, when you're talking to Fred Farr, you really had the sense you were talking to one of the men that really shaped California. Very strong environmentalist way before his time.
As small children, my father would get us down to the beach all the time, and he'd take us to the tide pools. We'd spend hours looking in one little tide pool, and every crab would have a name, and every sea urchin would have a name. And what we got from my father is how extraordinarily beautiful this place was, and that it needed to be preserved.
Sam took the lead on those things. I mean, I think he raised issues that long before their time. Sam was out there talking about land use planning, long before other people were. He was talking about the importance of keeping agricultural lands in production because they're such a vital part of the economy. Long before his time, Sam was out there saying, we have to protect this entire California coastline. Sam was a pioneer on environmental issues.
I look back on the Garrapatta Beach State Park, the Malera State Park, the creation of the Julia Pfeiffer Burns State Park, the new dunes at Fort Ord, preserving almost all of Fort Ord in open space with the BLM managing it. I'm now trying to save Fort Hunter Liggett. You know, somebody said, you're just trying to save the whole Central Coast, aren't you? And I said, yeah, I probably am.
A lot of members of Congress work hard. They really do. But I don't know anybody that works harder than Sam Farr.
When he really decides that he's interested in this and he's going to do this, then it's just constant. It's unrelenting. And of course, that's a real strength in this business because, you know, winding your way through the House of Representatives is a little bit like the road to Oz. I mean, you just have to stay with it.
He is dogged on everything, and he should be viewed by opposition as extremely dangerous.
I ran for Congress with my main motive that we could get a university at Fort Ord. You know, I remember getting in a fight with the colonel, this is during the campaign, and this colonel saying, you're not going to get any of this stuff. And I said, you want to bet? We're going to create this university here, and guess what? You're going to give it to us, and you're going to give us money to get it open.
Sam, in 25 years in public life, has not become a cynical person. He retains that healthy skepticism, but what really bubbles up with Sam is the just unending enthusiasm about what can be.
Sam sees government as the great equalizer. And Sam is most excited about his work representing people when he can use his office to make even the smallest person amongst his constituents feel like the most powerful person in the country.
There was always a message in the family that you have to give back. You've been very lucky and you have to give back. And I think that Sam's done that.
Sherry, my wife, she says about my service here in Congress, she said, you know, you're still just a Peace Corps volunteer. You've just changed your barrio. And I think that a lot of public service is like Peace Corps. You're just trying to listen to the people's problems and do something about it and get things that are broken fixed.